I'm Gemma. I'm going to start the presentation. My colleagues would call ourselves Epic PR. Danny's going to follow on from me with some more information after I've outlined the presentation. Then Sandy's going to take over and Steve's going to focus on the main campaign for you. So basically I want to give you what we took from the brief when we were given it, the main points that we thought were important that we should focus on. So we said who, the young drivers and passengers of cars, that's who we have to stop. You know, too young to die is the campaign. We need to identify the main causes of fatalities and serious injuries, and then obviously reduce those, stop them. And basically the most important thing, it's in red there, changing the mindset of these young people, because that's the only way you're going to get through, by changing the mindset, or that was our opinion. So what we did is design a campaign which addresses all these issues. I want to give you some context to our campaign and how we addressed it. We had lots of company meetings, brainstorming and mind mapping, doing that, visualising our ideas, could see them on the page. It obviously allowed us to look for trends and themes and decide what angle we were going to take. We researched extensively statistics, and we also organised meetings with road safety professionals who decided they had a bigger knowledge, you know, they've seen these kind of things, so if we spoke to them, then they could help us. These images illustrate further what we did to address the brief. You can see us there having a little meeting in the top corner. We drew up a Gantt chart to organise our time so we can manage the campaign effectively, make sure we got enough information and research done. These are our images of our mind map so we could see everything. And like I said before, the statistics were an important thing for us. And we sourced a report from the Department of Transport. We've got a copy of that for you if you'd like. So 9 big questions about changing behaviour. We all read this so we all knew how we could address the problem. And like I said, it led us to the next thing, which the statistics showed us that speed was the biggest killer of young people on the roads. And so rather than spreading ourselves too thinly, we decided to focus the campaign solidly on speed, maybe a few issues around the speed because that was the biggest killer. However, Danny's going to explain further to you what our campaign was.
So what we wanted to do, we look at incorporating an in-school programme, an educational campaign, which will be rolled out across secondary, middle schools and primary schools, and also it could be used to be rolled out to youth clubs and other outreach programmes, say kids that have been expelled from the schools, just in case, because they're at risk of a lot of these issues as well. We'll be aiming it at the transitional period from say a primary school to a secondary school, or a primary school to a middle school, depends on the format of the school. So this will be years 5, 6, 7. It depends on, like I say, the format of the school. We've done this because, as Gemma says, they're still learning some of the behavioural skills, some of the attributes. So they've also going to be making new friends, new influences on their life. So we feel it's a good time to get in to change their mindset. The programme itself will consist of interactive lessons spread across that transitional period. So we'd have maybe one in year 5 or 6, depends on which is primary arts, middle school, then again in year 6 or 7. And this it's a good way of keeping the kids' knowledge topped up, and it'll assess whether the messages got across to them, as we'll be able to ask them if they remember everything, do they know what we're doing. In this interactive lesson plan, there'll be involvement from a lot of outside agencies from whom we've approached, and they've actually agreed in principle to help us. All these will be, as you see, under the Break umbrella brand. So we're all one big company, one big organisation, sorry. And what we do is it will reduce so there's no confusion between who's in charge, who's the campaign is. It's all for Break, so everyone knows it's easily recognisable. We'll show you some examples of the actual interactive activities that we've got later on in the presentation. So what we thought we'd best do is ask the experts first of all, because we don't really know to a certain extent what the major issues are. So we thought we'd ask the emergency services first. So we approached the fire service. We asked them their opinions on our ideas for the campaign, and they really liked it. They said they was willing to help, and also they actually agreed to help us out with a demonstration of a car that's been involved in an accident, which we could put in, say, the school playground. The kids could come around and they could have a debate about it, or question and answer session, and they could actually, the fire service can actually demonstrate what the consequences of being in a crash are. So it's quite a first-hand way of showing the kids about it. So we thought about innovators in road safety. Most of those, we spoke to Steve Wright, who is the owner of Public Broadcasting Corporation in Huddersfield, which is a company that's worked all over the country with different road safety organisations. So what Steve Wright actually does, he creates puppets and he does shows and videos, live shows and videos about the issues of road safety, and it's just a different way of interacting with the children. It's something that the kids maybe relate to, as we've found that a lot of kids like to see different funny things, so this is a different way of getting across the message. We've also spoke to educators. We spoke to Deborah Knowles at Shelley First School, and she's the head teacher up there, and she's quite high-powered in the education department. She agrees with our campaign. She said she'd be happy to help us out as well. So it's just good that we've got someone who's high-powered help on board as well. But most of all, the biggest experts are the children, because we don't really know what the children like anymore. We're getting quite old now, some of us are anyway. And we thought the best way would be to ask them what they like. So here's just a few pictures. There's one picture of us actually in the workshop at Denby Dale. It's Steve Wright's public workshop. It just shows that we actually went out and spoke to him rather than just emailing and telephone. It shows he was serious about it. So that's the one of those. And then this is when we went to speak to the fire brigade. They actually invited us down to watch a demonstration of someone cutting the car after it's been in an accident. So we just thought that that would be perfect for our campaign. It showed that it does work as well. So we asked them mainly the question, can you see the merit in going to the younger children as opposed to 14, 15 and 16-year-olds? And Steve got some audio now because we recorded what Steve Wright had to say.
So we did a few interviews and it's basically just...
So as you can see as well, when we spoke to Chris Atkinson and Deborah Knowles, they had nothing but positive things to say to us, which we thought was really good and really helpful. So now I'm just going to pass you over to Sandy. She's going to talk about the focus group we did in more detail.
We set up a focus group at Shelley First School. This is a short video clip showing us going into the school.
We're just about to arrive at the school.
Shelley First School.
We're just about to ask the children what they think about safe driving and what makes them tick, the things that we want to know about them. And we're just about to go in and ask the questionnaires now. So hope it goes well.
See you in a bit.
We couldn't video or take pictures of the children, unfortunately, because we knew parents were concerned and we didn't have enough time. We talked to a Year 5 class of about 22 children. The children were aged between 9 and 10 years old. The reason why we chose this age group is because this is when children are leaving primary school and heading off to high school. So like Steve Wright quoted earlier, this is a transitional period, and when they're feeling more, they're getting independent and they feel like they're growing up as well. The focus group questions consisted of various questions. Steve will
These
show
are the
you.
responses, that's the questionnaire blank.
Oh, brilliant.
These are all the responses from
This will help us get a better understanding of what the children around that age group like, because obviously we don't know. From these results, we now have a more clear understanding and now know the best way of getting through to the children. During the lesson, we first introduced ourselves and then the children filled in the focus questionnaires. We then showed the children this video clip from Steve Wright and these clips.
It's really important to keep your seatbelt on because, like, if there was a crash or something, then you could, like, and you didn't have a seatbelt on, you could go flying through the window or something, and then you could, like, pretty much get really hurt, like, break quite a lot of your bones or something.
Whenever Webby bugs me about seatbelts.
Crash to someone if we're late or something, because we're normally late.
what really bugs me about seatbelts is that adults or parents in particular always tell you to wear a seatbelt. And I have no objection with wearing a seatbelt. It's just that often the hypocritical adults don't wear one. It's just so annoying.
Like we think it's like seen as not.
We found that the children liked it and responded to it. This was an innovative way to get their attention. After the lesson was over, we had a quick question and answer session to see what the children had learned and what they already knew. We've already devised a lesson plan which can be rolled out across schools, which includes questionnaires and games. This involves the children being interactive. We found a game about driving and speeding on the motorway, which Danny will show you. And we found some other online games as well, which can be rolled out into the curriculum.
So, what you've got to do, you've got to keep to the speed limit, and you've got to overtake at the right time, and you're not allowed to go too far close to the vehicles. You lose points, or when you go too fast and things like that. And if you did go too fast and you went in, you crash and you have to start again, which I thought was a good idea.
This may seem like a complicated process, however we looked to pilot it in a small scale area, such as in primary schools that feed Shelley area, that feed Shelley High School. We were mainly roughly about 15 primary schools in this area. We've already put together a lesson plan for the teachers, and we've already got preliminary agreement with teachers and the headmistress of Shelley Fair School, Deborah Knowles. Cost is relatively low as well, as we've already made contacts with Steve Wright and have the public scheme in place, as well as the fire service already having a programme in place which can just be adapted to fit with this curriculum. Teachers won't need much training, as again we've already got the lesson plan, and then it's also our teacher training guide in the group magazine which Steve Wright offers. So teacher training is minimal, which will save time and money. The main aim of this lesson plan is to change the mindset of children in an innovative and creative way which encourages children to be interested and learn about safe driving. I'll now pass you on to Steve, who will talk about the campaign.
Right, so basically to sum up so far, we've decided to hit the children at the transition age between when they're leaving junior schools and going to a more senior school. The reason for that is there's no point in trying to change a 15-year-old's mindset. Well, there is, but it's very hard work. You may as well go in when the mindset hasn't been formed yet and build in the belief system that they can then carry forward. So that's why we've gone for those 2-year groups, just to confirm that. Okay, so the key to this particular campaign is effective partnerships. This is the only way that we're going to get through to the kids, help establish those mindsets and ultimately keep them alive in the future when they, in a few years' time, start driving cars. Now it may seem that we've come in, not taught much about the driving of cars, but it's the mindsets from now. They're already watching Top Gear, they're already playing video games with cars. It's now moving them through the mindset transition. So just to answer a few questions, we have agreed that the campaign will be branded as Break, although there will be lots of partnerships involved. We've already established for you local partnerships with the Fire Brigade, with a local key school. Deborah Knowles is the teacher they bring in when you've got failing schools, so they'll send her to bring a school round. So she is very influential in the local area and with the head teachers associations, and also the Puppet Broadcasting Company. They're funded by the government and the local councils, so that's not a cost that Break would have to bear. I hope you agree that Steve Wright is a local innovator. You saw the clip there about seatbelts. All we do is go to him and ask him to do one about speed, and he said that's absolutely no problem. He could even localise that module to bring it to Kirklees and then do a different one when Break goes to a different area. Not a problem, he's on board that. They've all agreed to work with Break to deliver the message, and from what we saw, there's absolutely no egos involved at all. They just want everyone to work together as one to get this message across, and they're really passionate about it. And as you've seen already, we've devised a lesson plan that's been preliminarily approved by the schools, and we can develop that with the schools for you. So, we're going to use a 3-stage approach for the PR. We've got a pre-event PR, there's an actual event to launch the campaign, and post-event PR as well. So pre-event PR. Feature articles in magazines and publications such as the Times Educational Supplement, Guardian Educational Supplement, Primary Times and the local press like the Examiner, because the pilot schemes would be up here. They'd be included in those publications about a month prior to the launch event, and they're going to highlight the wider issues of the Too Young to Die campaign, and then focusing in on them, changing the mindsets, the new approach that we've just discussed here, and the partnerships that hopefully you'll be working with. We've identified specific people rather than just going, oh, we're going to go to the Times. So we've gone to speak to Mandy Mellor.